Hello, once again, this is Brother Teacher. Today's topic and or subject is on fungus. What exactly is fungus? Now, uh, I'm not a board certified scientist, but I study the world in which I live in, and I study my own physiology, and I study many other subject matter that makes me an expert on what I have studied as it relates to human life and existence. Doesn't mean that I know everything. It does mean that I am studied. I constantly learn every waking moment of my life, and you should as well. Now, on fungus. Fungus is uh, a growth similar to bacteria. Fungus is something that grows uh, within the world in which we live. There's over 144,000 types of fungus. The base word is fungi. 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 And as I just said or stated to you, there's over 144,000 types of fungi or fungus, as most of us are familiar with hearing it said. Now, fungus exists everywhere on planet Earth. Of course, it's in the soil, it's in the plants, it's on the plants. Fungus also exists on animals. You'll find fungus on your body and within your body as well. Now, fungus is a normal occurrence, is what I'm saying. It is something that's been with us since the beginning of the world, and it's not going anywhere because it is necessary, but it can be worrisome as well when it gets out of control. So, what type of fungus are we more familiar with? It's called Candida albicans. That's one of the most popular funguses. Ringworm, for example, is another type of fungus as well. And contrary to popular belief, it has nothing to do with any worms. It's because the shape of the infection appears to be uh, similar to that of a worm, but it's not a worm. No worm involved in that whatsoever. And it's funny that growing up as a child, you've heard people say you have the worm, you have worms, or you have ringworms. You know, that was because of a lack of understanding or education, misinformation, just not being thoroughly educated on that particular subject or topic. Ringworm is nothing more than just a type of fungus. That's all it is. Looks like a worm. But anyway, Candida albicans is pretty popular, especially with human beings. This is what I want to tackle real quick. I'm taking my time and speaking because I have a lot going on right now around me. And I want to be very meticulous, very careful in how I state this and make it, excuse my expression, idiot proof. Make it real simple. So, fungus is everywhere. It's under the bottom of your shoe, it's on your clothing, it's on trees, it's on plants, it's in the soil, it's even, how should I say, in water. You can have fungus in water and certain types of water. Uh, so what's the deal with fungus as it relates to us? The focus of this particular video is to teach you how to get rid of candida and or fungus that is infectious to you. Not the good fungus, because fungus can be good too. It lives a very symbiotic relationship with the human body and with nature, as long as it stays in proper proportion to our bodies, more specifically. Now, when you have candida in your body, or albican, candida albicans, if you will, uh, it can get out of control and it can run rampant. It's not necessarily going to kill you, but it can be very, very irritating, such as on your scalp, dandruff. That's a form of possible fungus or fungi because of the overgrowth of this particular condition in your scalp. Now, fungus thrives in a damp or moist environment, heat, very warm, if you will, oftentimes, and even dark environment. Dark, moisture, and heat. Fungus and even bacteria also thrives. Remember that. Now, let's say you have fungus in your scalp. I've experienced that. Dandruff, severe case of dandruff, flaking, and so forth. That's an overgrowth of fungus. So, what's going on in the body? And before I go any further with what's going on in the body, let me tell you another fungus. It's yeast is a type of fungus as well, and women have yeast infections pretty regular. Some of them in the vagina, a vaginal infection or yeast infection. Most of them commonly refer to it, and you can have a fungal infection in your gut, in your intestines, and that can throw off your digestive processes, and it can stop you from absorbing nutrients or nutrition. And then when you can't absorb nutrition, you become malnutrition. It means no nutrition. And when you don't have any nutrition, then here comes all of the symptoms. Okay, breaking out on the skin, uh, the allergies, asthma and things like this. These are oftentimes as a result of taking things in orally or ingesting foods that are not healthy for you. Milk products are deadly to people who have fungus issues. Milk problems exacerbate those problems as well, or dairy, I should say, for some of us. So, how do we deal with fungus in the body or excess fungus? Because we do need fungus. If we didn't have fungus and bacteria and viruses in our world and our planet in which we live, we would die. All of life would cease to exist because we need it. We coexist with it. It coexists with us. So now, when it's out of hand again, as far as our bodies are concerned, this is what you need to do. You need to realize that fungus has a favorite food. Can you guess what it is? I've said it before. Sugar. Sugar feeds fungus. Sugar feeds cancer. It loves it. It attaches to it. It proliferates. It grows. It expands exponentially. It grows really fast. And ultimately, it can kill you when it gets out of hand. So, how do we deal with the excess fungus? How do we eradicate it? It's really simple if you heard what I just said caused fungus to grow. Get rid of the sugar. Let me tell you, this is unfortunate, but it's true. Did you not know that sugar is in virtually every food that you buy in the supermarket? It's in virtually everything. Rightfully so. The industry knows that our taste buds love sugar. And when you think that you're innocently just purchasing food, just to put on the table at home, oftentimes you're being driven by this right here. Your mind remembers from your taste buds that something is appealing to you, that something really tastes good. And you get this feeling of pleasure way down into the subconscious brain. And then you continue to buy those types of products. But you're buying them not because you're just putting a meal on the table. You're buying them because they taste good. And they taste good more so than not. It's because they have sugar in them. Excess sugar. Carbohydrates convert to sugar in the body if they're natural carbohydrates. But the man-made processed sugars should be avoided at all costs. I know most of us grew up with cookies, bakery goods, pies and donuts and cakes and things like this. Soda pops, Pepsi, Coke, Sprite, and so forth. Fruit colored beverages and juices, ice creams, candy bars, lollipops. All of this sugar has been breaking our bodies' structure down since day one. And then we are creating the perfect environment for fungus to grow and to grow out of hand. So we need to eliminate the sugar. It's going to be difficult because it's psychological. You just didn't know what was going on. And when you put on all of these extra pounds and you become really heavy, weight wise, and even obese, you wonder what happened. You said, well, I'm eating vegetables and so forth. I'm eating a pretty healthy diet, get a little exercise in here and there, but I can't seem to get the weight off. It is because, again, that most of the food that you purchase in your grocery store contains excess amounts of sugar. What are some examples of the sugar? We know the obvious culprits as far as sugar is concerned. We know that sugar is in your candy, your cakes, your pastries, your pies, and your fountain drinks, your Pepsis, and so forth. We already know that. Sugar is also in your potato chips. It's in your caramel popcorn. It's in your ketchup, your mustard. It's in your salad dressings. It's in your sauces. When you buy Mexican food, when you buy Indian food, when you buy, let's say, Chipotle sauces, all of these types of things. Basically, any kind of salad dressing, conventionally, any kind of pasta sauce, conventionally, all contain sugar. It's the way in which it's processed and packaged and advertised to us, marketed to us. It has sugar. Now, I can get up and go bring a whole lot of products out of my store and sit them right here and show them to you and say, well, you know, sugar is in here, sugar is in here. It is. So, what's the method to get rid of or to eradicate this excess yeast in and on our bodies? Women's yeast infections, excess and overrun intestinal tract with yeast that's causing all types of illnesses, and yeast even in your scalp and on your skin causing skin issues. What's the answer? Stop feeding it. Should I turn this off again and pause it for a while and let you think about this, or play some music in the background for you to understand or comprehend what I just said? Stop feeding the yeast. Stop feeding the yeast sugar. For some of us, and maybe most of us, it's going to be very difficult because we grew up in an environment of eating sugar. The food industry, food manufacturers put sugar in virtually everything that they push out into the public supermarkets and restaurants. Sugar, sugar, sugar. White sugar. High fructose corn syrup. It's there. What we have to do first is acknowledge what the problem is. Acknowledge that there is a problem. And then we can see clearly what to do. At least by virtue of what I'm telling you in this video, which is common sense if you think about it. Very practical if you think about it. Start eliminating the sugar in your diet today. Now, I'm not going to go and fly across the world. I don't have the finances to do that and hold everybody's hand and take you to the shopping mart or to your farmer's market and so forth and say, well, don't touch this and don't touch that, you can't eat this and so on and so forth. You've got to do some study and some research and some practical application on your own because it's your life and that of your families. So I just told you what to do. The first step is to start eliminating sugar from your diet. You can do it in baby steps if that's what your strength is. If you can't just do it cold turkey, then do it in baby steps, is what I'm saying. If you can do it cold turkey and just stop sugar today, then by all means do that. But I advise you to do it in steps. Reason being, it's hardwired in our system, even in our genetics, to like sugar, to love sugar even. So now, what's the other thing on that other side that we must do after and while we are eliminating those artificial sugars out of our diet, the white sugars, the brown cooking sugar, if you will, the high fructose corn syrup laden products, removing the sugar specifically. That's that white stuff that you put in your coffee and your tea and you bake your bakery products with and so forth. Eliminate that out your house, period. Get rid of it. And products that contain those same sugars, and choosing an alternative. And you need to research the alternatives on your own. I'm not going to go through showing you and guiding you again to what those alternatives are at this present time, but I will give you some, perhaps in the next video pertaining to the same subject. And the next most important thing that you need to do is start eating real food. Real food. Your vegetables, dark green leafy vegetables, your colored vegetables, the oranges, the greens, the purples. That includes your fruits. Now, just because I said you must eliminate the sugars, the artificial sugars out of your diet to eradicate the yeast issues that you have, or the overgrowth of yeast in your body and on your body, just because I said that does not give you permission to go out and start eating all of the fruit that you want to, because fruit is sugar as well. Fructose, right? Too much fruit can cause those same issues, to include diabetes. Did you not know that? Now someone might say, well, brother teacher, wait a minute, pump the brakes. Fruit is natural. It's supposed to be good for you. Yes, it's natural, but there's a certain time that you must eat fruit. And there are other times that you must not eat fruit. You must learn the science of this. If you were born and you live in the Caribbean islands where it's hot all of the time, or in some tropical paradise where it's hot all of the time and it's fruit all around you, guess what? Fruit is indigenous to that region or those places, and it's hot. Fruit is for cooling the human body. So since it's hot outside, you're burning the sugar off in those hot climates. But do you live in a climate that's always hot 24/7 all year long? And then you consume fruit that you can burn off? No, you don't. You live in a place, in most instances in America, in most instances, most places, where we have seasons: summer, winter, spring, and fall. You're not supposed to eat fruit all of those seasons. I'll let you think about that. Now, in the wintertime, if you want to gain weight, you can eat fruit. If you want to gain weight. In the summertime, you should really be eating fruit because it's good for cooling the body down, and it's good for when you're exercising, you're using it as energy, right? From the fruit, that is. That's the natural sugar. But in the evening time, if you're going to eat fruit throughout the year, if you just decide that you want to have fruit, if you eat fruit in the evening time when you're less active, you're going to gain weight because you can't burn the sugar off. You burn the sugar off during the day, especially if it's warm in the day, and especially if you are a person who's engaged in activity where you can sweat and burn calories. You can have the fruit in the wintertime. I'm just saying. So now, ladies and gentlemen, teenagers, my brothers and sisters, did you get it? I started out talking about yeast and how to get rid of yeast, excess yeast. Your body needs to have yeast. Okay, it's 144,000 different types of species of yeast. Okay, I also said that ringworm was a form of yeast. And when you have a vaginal infection, ladies, that's yeast or an overgrowth of fungus. It's not a pleasant feeling, some of the things that we deal with as it relates to yeast. And you can have an influx of yeast in your gut bacteria where you cannot properly absorb nutrition. And then you have other health issues as a result. You have down in that microbiome, which is supposed to be flourishing with good bacteria, that's supposed to be fighting the bad bacteria. But when it's compromised because of an influx of yeast, you get Crohn's disease, diverticulitis, leaky gut, IBS or irritable bowel syndrome, and various other gut related diseases and or issues. I know you love this video. This is just straight down that natural path. If we want to live long or longer or have a healthy remainder of our lives, a meaningful life, we need to start taking care of ourselves by sticking to nature and sticking to nature as much as we possibly can in an environment, in a society that's constantly pushing toxic waste to us, toxic products, chemicals in our food supplies and so forth, including water. We need to be our own scientists. We need to participate in our own deliverance. You follow? So I hope that this was of some benefit to you. But let me add this before I go to, uh, if you have dandruff, uh, I want to say this. I've spoken on this before. I have dandruff. And one of the things to do when you have an excess overgrowth of your sebaceous material on your scalp, sebum and what have you, or yeast, is if your diet is intact, if you're getting your diet back on track, you can make a paste. You can take garlic, crush it up. You can use coconut oil or olive oil and make it into a paste, and you apply it on your scalp. Leave it there for about 30 minutes and rinse it off with some warm water and dry your scalp really, really well. Make sure that you dry your scalp really, really well because yeast and bacteria thrive in a moist or damp environment and it just grows again. You follow? So you do that in conjunction with taking care of yourself internally. We start within and we have the greatest results without. Did you follow what I just said? We start within with the proper diet and eliminating the things that we've been putting inside of our bodies that's causing those things to occur within our body and without our body that are detrimental to us down the road. So that paste again is garlic cloves, crush them up in some olive oil or some coconut oil, make a paste, put it throughout your whole scalp, rinse it off. Now, if you have any kind of irritation in your scalp from the garlic, because it's strong, contains the ingredient or active ingredient allicin, and it can burn. If you have any severe burning or redness, it is because a lot of times you're having maybe an allergic reaction, or in most instances you've been scratching your head and you've broken down some of the skin cells, and that garlic has seeped through there, and that's what's causing the burning and the redness, if you will. So try to avoid scratching your head. Try to avoid picking the dandruff out of your head. I know from experience. I'm speaking from experience. When you're scratching your skin, constantly scratching your skin, and you will notice, ladies, especially if you've ever put conditioners in your head, if you've ever put relaxers in your head, and you've been scratching your head before that, your head's going to burn like the devil because you have broken down the skin, and that relaxer is just going to burn your scalp really, really bad and irritate it. So you avoid scratching your head with a comb, your nails, or anything else. So avoid picking anything in your head, picking scalps and stuff like that, and then putting that paste in your head because it's going to become red and it's going to burn. So if you're going to use the paste that I just suggested, make sure that you wait a couple days so your head can heal if you've been scratching it, and then you use the paste a couple times a day for about 6-7 days. But in conjunction again with the proper diet, your leafy green vegetables, your colorful vegetables and fruits. Drink plenty of water, get plenty of rest, exercise, eat a wholesome diet, a diet consistent of whole foods, which means real foods, unadulterated. No pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, and this type of stuff. No Roundup. Make sure that your things that you put in your body are organic, real. Don't complain about the price of things. Either you want to be healthy and live well, or you don't. It's that simple. This is Brother Teacher. Guess what? I love you, and Yahweh loves you. See you in the next video. But until then, you make sure that you take care of yourself and yours, and that you also like, and if you haven't already, subscribe to my channel and share this information, because it's worth your life. So long.